I will probably stab you very quickly after this episode if you keep on. I cannot with the eating and the chewing.
All right, one more bite.
If you tuned in to see if you can argue with your spouse and still be madly in love, you're in the right spot.
I'm Kent.
And I'm Annie.
And we're the
Kilkos.
Sound like a game show.
We're your host of Life's Little Arguments. We're not trained experts in love and marriage. Actually, we might be quite dysfunctional, but we have been happily married for 16 years.
Debatable.
Not only will we share all the ups and downs of marriage, but the ins and outs of raising his and her kids, growing through new jobs and opportunities, and our latest obsession, our empty nest babies, our dogs, Blakely and Lincoln.
So if you hear ding, ding, ding across the microphone, they're probably walking across the floor.
Listen in each week while we discuss our life, current events, random TikToks, and the little arguments that undoubtedly come up. Whether you're in a long-term relationship yourself or in a fresh new relationship, we hope you find our podcast fun, entertaining, and helps you realize there is a normal in life's little arguments.
All right, well, I am going to go ahead and I'm going to put an apology. I'm going to issue an apology statement.
Not issue.
I'm going to issue an apology statement for what we just allowed to happen. What I just allowed to happen.
I say you're the one that recorded it. I was just eating a banana.
I did, but I did it on purpose because one, that you brought it up here, and two, it's on the list of notes. You're the one that put it on there. Your spouse chewing.
Yeah.
And then you came and chewed in everybody's ear.
Yeah, but I didn't think I was in everyone's ear. You made it everyone's ear. Yeah. But you don't. So first of all,
I don't do it.
Listening to anyone chew, it doesn't matter who it is bad. But there's something about when your spouse does it, I feel like it's like chewing times 100.
It is.
But you do this.
What?
I don't know if you're trying to itch the inner.
It is. My ears are itching so
I
badly.
think that's my thing.
Do your ears not itch?
No, I like every now and again, but yours fucking apparently itch all the time.
They have been.
Yeah.
Yes, babe. It's perimenopause.
Oh, Jesus.
Which I think probably has been
everything is perimenopause.
Well, yeah, it is.
Okay.
When your body stops producing estrogen,
know what?
Sue me for my body stopping to produce estrogen.
I have an idea.
And it absolutely impacts everything in my complete life. Sorry.
I have an idea.
Sorry about that.
Oh, new study found that women going through perimenopause, they want to have sex with their husband. Well, since you believe everything else is perimenopause, I might as well shoot my shot here.
Oh, wow.
Shoot my shot.
Okay.
Hold on, let's make sure my logo's showing on there. It's not even going to show, but anyhow. But yeah, when you make that noise and it's like you're near me, it gives me the ick. Yeah, it's the. Anyways, don't do it. No one wants to listen to that shit. I can promise you.
I can't help it. The ears itch. I don't know what to do, but it's like not it. You can't get to it. There's no way to scratch that.
So we're doing this post Snowmageddon 2025.
Snowmageddon.
Yeah. So somebody had asked the question, when was the last time it snowed in Georgia? And I think the official answer is like 18 or something. But I remember it being in 93, which is when we had like this kind of snow.
Oh, okay.
I remember being in 93, and I remember that because it was followed by the flood of 94.
You had snow and then a flood?
Next year. Yeah. And so I think that, like, if you Google it, I think like back in the 70s, 73 or some shit like that, it was like 18 and a half inches, like for real blizzard type stuff. I can't even imagine what would happen if we had that kind of stuff happen here.
Well, everything would stop more so than it did this time.
Oh, I mean, and you're talking days for 18 inches of snow?
Yeah.
I guess it depends on how hot it got.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. But I drove in it today. It wasn't too bad. There were a couple spots that were a little icy going down 96. But man, I had a good time with it. Like, I kept, I was like, okay, we're going to freak out, milk, bread, all this other stuff. But it legit, and then it stuck. And like, as you're watching the news and the weather radar, you see, okay, this is going to be legit. But what's crazy is places even south of us got even more snow than we got. So
I was really surprised because, they always say snow. And of course I'm like, okay, this is not real snow, guys. Like typically what we get down here, it's like sleet. It's like icy. It's icy. I don't even want to call it snow. It's just basically like ice. And so I'm like, this is not going to happen. It's not going to happen, whatever. And then it started spitting. I'm like, okay, I can see it. And it starts to stick a little bit. And I was like, okay, this is probably what's going to happen. And then I'm going to see all these people like trying to go sledding on hills that are pretty much just all grass, but they just have a slight dusting of white, which, that doesn't work, obviously. You're just sliding down grass. But it kept going. I was like, oh my God. Like, by the end, I'm like, this is legit snow.
Yeah.
And what was crazy about it is it was, even in Ohio, like, I don't recall a time seeing this type of snow because it was very
light and fluffy.
Dusty, like, yes,
Yeah.
It was very airy. Like, it wasn't like wet snow, which I know sounds crazy because obviously it is wet.
It wasn't moist snow?
Was it moist? No, because you tried to put a snowball together, right?
Yeah.
How'd that work out?
I mean, fine. I mean, I was throwing them at Lauren, fine.
That was not a full on, like, actual snowball that stayed packed together.
Yeah, okay.
And I saw people trying to put like snowmen together,
Yeah.
and they were like, it was actually a lot harder than
Yeah.
you thought. And because that snow, it literally was like it almost felt fake. It almost felt like a fake snow, and it made me think, are we in the Truman Show?
Perhaps. But you know who had a good time?
Who?
The Dioges.
Yes, they did.
I mean, because what is he doing?
Honestly-
He thinks my banana's back there.
Oh.
But so our dogs, they don't like going outside when it's raining. Like when
Lincoln?
it's time for them to go use the bathroom or whatever. If it's raining, they're like, nah, fam. And so we were like, we're really not sure exactly what they're going to do when we let them out in the snow. But man, they had a blast. We went on a walk that first night.
While it was still snowing.
Yeah, well, I was still snowing, and they did really well with that. But then the next day, Lauren and I went to the backyard with them. And, of course, Lincoln gets covered, like, in these snowballs. And I think because he's a little more dense. We'll call it that. He's a little more dense. And so
We don't fat shame on here.
his underbelly touches the snow a little differently than Blakely's. And his legs are a little shorter. So he was he had a little more coverage on his legs.
I feel like he was not far above the snow.
Yeah.
I mean, he kind of dropped right down into it.
So he got these like full on snowballs like attached to his legs, which Blakely didn't necessarily have as many of those. I don't know if it was his hair, if it's just because his hair is definitely thicker.
Yeah.
But he sits a little closer to the ground too.
And
so.
dogs that, are in the winter all the time, like, or dogs that are made to be kind of in the winter, like, let's say Nellie, for example.
Yeah.
Nellie's a lab, so those kind of things would just kind of wipe right off
Yeah,
of her.
yeah.
But no, those
Well, it's
jokers
even
were,
like when she gets out of the pool, she's basically dry.
Yeah.
Versus our dogs are like soaking wet. So
yeah, so it brought out a real childlike feel.
Yeah.
I think for everybody down here, just because it's not something like we see it every couple of years, it seems like, but it's not real. Like, this was legit real snow, and I was kind of impressed.
Well, I've always said it gets cold enough here during most winters to snow, but it's almost like if it's going to get this cold, like if there's no snow, it's not worth it being this cold. And the sleet or the ice or whatever that we would typically get is more of a nuisance. This wasn't a nuisance. And I even posted something on our neighborhood page. I was like, man, there's something magical about, like, there were kids riding a bike. They were out in the yards. I said, so y'all, if you get on the road, be careful, because these kids are going to have one thing on their mind and one thing only, and that's sledding, building, whatever it is that they're doing.
And we walked the neighborhood, and there was like so many. We saw
Adults.
so many adults
Yeah.
doing like snow angels, and we saw so many snowmen being built.
Yeah.
So it was. And then, not to mention, my freaking igloo was a legit igloo. It was covered in snow. It held up, thankfully. And we got out there before the snow fully covered it up, and spent, I don't know, 15 or 20 minutes out there. And it legit was like covered for the most part in a dusting. And
I took a picture of it covered the next morning, so it looks pretty cool.
It was cool. It was like a legit. It just that, obviously my igloo has been like, that has soothed my soul.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my God, it's felt so right and so good, and I'm so glad that I did it. And then just to be able to have snow on top of that was so freaking cool. The only thing I wish is that I would have had a better heater so that I could have stayed out there longer, because it was definitely a little chilly.
And so you have a cousin coming down next week, and once she's gone, her and her husband, we will agree that the trees and all this stuff are being put up. We'll decide what we're going to do with the igloo, but the rest of the stuff can get put up.
Absolutely, yes. Absolutely. The other stuff gets put up. The igloo.
I have reached my limit.
Okay.
Yeah, I've reached my limit.
Yeah. Well, you've reached your limit.
On just Christmas stuff still being out. Yeah.
That's like winter stuff. That's not Christmas. There's no
Fair.
decoration that makes it Christmas.
I'll
it's
give
a
you that.
winter.
I'll give you that.
It's a winter.
Let me have a different perspective, and maybe I'll feel differently about it.
I assumed I could keep the igloo up until it started to kill the grass. I figured as long as it wasn't
It'll be a wrap at that
killing
point.
the grass, that you wouldn't be fussing about it.
That's true.
It's actually, the backyard's going to look really weird without all that stuff out there.
Yeah, it will feel bigger, I think.
It will until we get what?
A swimming pool.
Our swimming pool.
Yeah.
We found some. Did I find those tiny pools, or did you find?
You
come
were
across
looking
that?
at them, yeah.
How cute are those?
Yeah.
They're so freaking cute.
Yeah.
It's a place in Texas that does it, and they're legit, like just like a regular pool would be, however you design it. But they're mostly these modern pools, which to me is like the rectangular, just a rectangular.
Yeah. Which is what I want, by the way.
Yeah. And these are so freaking cute. And so they're like 14 foot by 19 foot. I'm like, why? It's all 4 foot. Like, what? That's exactly what we need. Why don't we need anything more? Why do you need to jump off a diving board into a deep end?
I don't need to jump off a diving board, but I'd like to be able to jump into a deep end.
Why?
Because for my entire life, I could never do a flip into the water. Mm-hmm. And once I got into my 40s, I said, you know what? Fuck this. I'm going to learn how to do a flip into the water. So now I flip into the water every time I get in the pool.
Okay. You couldn't, like, you didn't know how, or you weren't allowed to flip into the pool?
I was scared.
You were scared to flip.
Like, I'd go to do it and then, and like just belly flop or back flop or something, because I would get scared every time.
Yeah.
My level of fear has reduced quite a bit as I've gotten older.
That's crazy, because mine has gotten worse. Like, I used to be able to do like a back dive. I would do a back dive. Off the side or off
I could never
board.
do. I would always try.
I didn't like trying to do. I never tried to do a flip though.
Yeah, I would, but I don't know that I could do a front flip. I would. Now I would, but I'm very comfortable doing a back flip now.
And speaking of that, I think I would do a front flip on a trampoline, but I don't think I ever did a back flip.
I tried to do a front flip on a trampoline one time, and it ended up in a bloody nose, and I never did it again because I came down.
That does happen. Yeah,
your knee hits. Yeah. So
I saw the kids in the backyard. I think behind us, they were jumping on their trampoline, probably eating all the snow everywhere.
Snow
I
dust
saw
was coming
Allie's.
up everywhere.
Yeah, she did
Sorry
a slow
about
mo.
that. Yeah.
No, maybe it wasn't Allie. Somebody did a slow mo video of the kids jumping on the trampoline and different things.
Cool.
It was cute.
Yeah.
So anyway, the snow was a ton of fun. Everybody enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So. And the chewing. So are we going back to the chewing? We're done with that.
I mean, I think that most people would agree that it's annoying as hell. It doesn't matter who it is. Like when Jackson lived here, couldn't stand it. TV had to be full blast. Because there's something about him, and not, well, first of all, it's his chewing. It's specifically the way he eats Doritos.
Well, that's funny
because for whatever reason,
anything crunchy drives
because
me
for
crazy.
whatever reason, he does not put a full Dorito in his mouth.
Well,
he likes to bite it in half, which is an extra. But then it's like
not everybody has the same size mouth that they can put a full Dorito.
Bro,
in their mouth.
He's fucking 6'4". He can put a damn Dorito in his mouth. But he eats it like, and it's even worse to hear him. I'm gonna give y'all the way he drinks water. First of all, he got some juicy lips. He got some juicy lips.
Does.
And I don't have a bottle. Give me your bottle.
Those lips because
give me your bottle.
Not fair. It's not fair that I can't have those
Okay,
lips.
give me your
pay
bottle.
For something like that.
They would cost a lot of money. They'd cost a lot of money.
I would never be able to get mine juicy.
So here's a real question for you guys. So when you drink out of a bottle,
Clearly he didn't get those juicy lips from
do
me.
your lips like this, meaning like
I don't think anybody can see you.
like okay, let me get closer.
Okay, he's doing
Like a regular person would drink, or
okay.
do you do like our son does? Again, big fat juicy lips. He does like this.
You're stupid.
But he does that. But here's what it sounds like, yo. Here's what it sounds like.
It does not. Oh my gosh. Okay.
So if you're sitting at a kitchen table with that, and there's no other noise except that, and eating Doritos, what are you gonna do? You're gonna lose your fucking mind. Is what you're gonna do.
Okay. Wow.
So anyway, I think most people would agree that I'm glad most people would agree that hearing someone else chew is top three. Like in other words, if I were ever captured by a terrorist and they wanted to torture me, they'd put me in a room and make me listen to somebody chewing, and I'd tell them all the secrets.
Wow.
Yep. Good thing I don't know any real secrets I had, so we're safe. But
Well,
what about you? What do you have to say about it?
I can't.
I act like I chew better than everybody else.
Well, I don't act like I chew better than everybody else, but you're chewing definitely. It takes me over the edge. Your Nutrigrain bar in the morning. I want to literally. I want to. I don't want to stab you because I feel like that's violent. So I want to choke you out, and I want to wrap you up in a plastic bag, and then drag you out of the house and probably bury you in the backyard.
So we agree that I chew
and then
out.
I'm gonna put a nice vegetable garden over top of it.
Okay.
And that'll be done.
So we agree that I chew loud, you chew loud, Jack chew. Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know that I have ever heard Lauren chew. And I've eaten around her plenty of times, and I don't know that I have ever heard her chewing or drinking. Like when she drinks, it doesn't make that same noise.
You know what? Also, for you,
Why do you think that is? Did she even chew her food? You know what? You know
maybe
what?
she's like Lincoln and just swallows it straight down.
Right, Lincoln. But you know what she does that it kind of gives me the ick, and she's bad about it. And I should say this because I get tickled when I'm at the dinner table too. But when she's eating and she gets tickled, you can just see like all the. It's just like, girl, finish. It's like Shep on Southern Charm. That's as proper as he is, and all the etiquette that he has. That some bitch will talk with his mouth full all the time. And I'm like, Shep, finish what you're. But anyhow, I don't know that I've ever listened to Lauren chew before.
No.
I need to pay more attention to that.
Yeah. I can't recall listening or hearing her chew, but I want to go back to your chewing. It's not.
Oh, wow.
It's not. Yeah,
We're
I wasn't
not moving
done.
on
You
past
actually
this.
no. You actually like interrupted me. It's not just the chewing noise.
It's the breathing too.
No, it's how fast you chew. It's like. I mean, I'm like, slow down. Like,
Yeah.
where is it going at that point?
Listen.
Like, it's not like, this is not like a time where you had to like chase your food and hunt it and like eat it quickly before somebody else came and stole
You
it.
don't know
This
how I
is
grew
like,
up.
nobody is taking
You
this
don't know how I grew
granola
up.
bar out of your hand.
You don't know how I grew up.
I feel certain Angie wasn't slapping
I
a
eat like a
granola
prisoner.
bar out of your hand so she could take it.
Are you like a prisoner?
Anyway, so.
Do you feel better? So seriously, we would like for you guys to weigh in on a scale of 1 to 10. Like, how activated would you get if you're sitting at a table across from your significant other, no TV, no phone, no nothing, and all you're doing is listening to them eat? On a scale of 1 to 10, how activated would you be?
So there's a difference. Like, some people, it's like a legit. Is it a phobia or is it just an irritation for everybody? I feel like there's an
phobia. The phobia is like you're scared. That doesn't.
Yeah, but
make
it's
sense.
not. Okay, so it's not the phobia, but there is an actual. What's it called?
You'll have to look it up.
Yeah. It's a thing. I have a thing with, anyway, whatever. Okay, so.
Well, let's make it clear. I have a thing too. You can call it whatever you want. It is a thing.
Well, maybe, I need to look that up.
Yeah.
Anyway. So, that thankfully hasn't caused any fights between us. I mean, it's just an irritation at this point. It's just like,
because
move away. It's an irritation.
Yeah.
Like, it gets on my nerves. It makes me like.
Well, I just adapted. Turn the TV up louder. So when we listen to Family Feud, it's on like volume 62. TMZ, volume 62.
My adaptation, there's no adapting to you because I feel like it just is like I can hear, I don't care how loud something is, I can still hear you doing it. So I just internally in my head am having a conversation with my head about, it's okay. You still love him. You're still going to stay married. Wow. It's fine.
Wow.
You can do this. You can do this, Annie. You've got this. It's okay. It's okay. And I'm basically, that's what's going on. I'm having that conversation with myself in the head.
So did you hear me when I said the volume 62? So we had a conversation, was it yesterday or day before or whatever, and I think it was Lauren that said something about when you turn up your radio in your car, does it have to be on an even number?
Yeah, I don't even know how this conversation came up either.
Yeah, I'm not sure either, but I have some OCD. I think most people would say that's OCD. And I have some OCD tendencies, and I suspect she probably gets some of that from me, whether or not that's hereditary or maybe learned or whatever. But it's odd because I don't know. I don't know if I consciously make a decision that it has to be on an even number or an odd number.
Mm-hmm.
I've not paid that much attention to that particular thing, but I thought it was interesting that that Lauren did. And then we asked Jackson the same question, and even though he's your kid and you're the complete opposite of that, he has some OCD type tendencies. And I think he said, It doesn't have to be an even number, but it has to be between 9 and 12 on a scale of 30.
I'm like,
which
what?
I thought was odd as shit.
Right. What if the scale is like 80?
Well, but he's had a couple of Fords now, and Ford probably goes. Let's say it goes to 30. That's probably why he's referring to that.
I thought he was just yanking our chain, like making fun of Lauren when we asked that question. But Ashley was like, no, sadly, he absolutely has to have it. I'm like, between 9 and 12.
And
that's
like I said,
so random.
with it being a Ford, this is the second Ford. The first one probably had the same type of,
And I guess that's music. Like, so I don't listen to a ton of music in the car. I listen to a lot of podcasts. And when I do the podcast, like, I'm turning them up to like 25. So
I know when you're home.
Is that just like I can't hear?
You think that the dogs hear the cars coming? No, they hear your radio coming from like the entryway of the neighborhood. Same thing with Lauren. Same thing with Jackson. Used to drive me crazy, but and I'm the opposite. I'm turning my shit down because I got to focus. I got to pay attention.
You got to be able to see.
Yeah,
so you got to turn the volume down so you can see.
Yeah.
So what volume do you have a volume that you
that's what I'm
yourself?
saying. Like I don't really know. I would say 20 something, but I'm just speculating. Like I don't for what as odd as that sounds, given the way that I am about a lot of stuff, I just don't pay attention to that.
So it was interesting. So what grabbed me about this conversation with her is she was saying it has to be that way. I'm like, but why does it have to be that way? She's like, it just has to be that way. I'm like, okay, but why does it have to be that way? I don't know. It just has to. I'm like, what's going to happen? I don't know. It just has to be like that. And that's where I start getting frustrated. I'm like, because it doesn't have to be that way. Like that, this is ridiculous. Like it's stupid. Like what is going to happen in the world or to you if it is not like that? Like that. So it just takes me to another level of, okay, so you had to have created this for yourself. It's not like this is innately in you that your body said the volume has to be on an even number. Like that's not a thing.
I disagree. But you have no OCD tendencies that I know of. Mm-hmm. And so your mind does not work like that. And so case in point, when I used to, before I went to the Click deodorant, mm-hmm. I used regular, I would do 5 up wipes and 5 down wipes. And if I didn't do 5 up and 5 down, I would have to start the process all over again. Now, very, very rarely did that happen, but like,
so much deodorant.
Like if I'm putting deodorant on and a bomb goes off and we realize it was just a test bomb, I'm like, fuck, I got to start all over again. So now I do 4 clicks, which is, whatever. But when I shower.
Is that why you went to the Click deodorant so you could click
No,
it?
it's lighter. It's so much lighter because before 10 strokes, listen, 10 strokes was thick, son. No wonder why my white t-shirts they look. So now it's just so much lighter. But anyhow, it's still a number. But like when I used to wash, it'd be like up 15 side, so 1 to 15. Sideways is. Sideways is 15 to 20, and then you go back up and down to go 20 to 25. And you're counting this in your head as you're doing it. And if music's going, conversation, you're talking to me and I'm counting. You know what I mean? Like it's just, but so you ask, well, what happens if you don't? I don't know the answer.
Exactly. That's the point. And when did it start? So it's not innate.
This is years.
It's not innately in you because when did it start?
But I didn't wake up one day and be like, yo, man, I want to start counting my armpit strokes.
Well, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So when did you notice it? When did you first notice that you started doing that?
I don't know, but I'm guessing 20 years ago. I mean, like the other thing is like, and you know this, I can't remember if we talked about this on here before, but the markings on the road, the dashes. In my mind, as I'm driving, I'll see 1, 2, 3, 4. I declare a thumb war. That's what I'm saying in my. Why that? No fucking clue. But here's what makes it even more odd: is if I'm going and I see it in the sun, I can count it. If it's in the shade, it gets skipped. So there's times when we're like, let's say there's 3 dashes and then a couple in the shade. About 1, 2, 3, 4. I declare a thumb war.
How on earth are you doing this while also paying attention to the driving?
I don't know the answer to that. But that is my mind. When I say it's a constant flow of something like that, it is absolutely constant. And I don't know if.
So you're telling me we just got home.
Yeah.
We just drove. You just drove us home.
Yeah.
And you were doing that.
It's not just interstate, but I would say it's probably about 80% of the time that we drive. today was maybe the exception because I'm looking for ice on the road and dark spots on the road. So I don't know that I wasn't necessarily doing it today, but yeah, it's exhausting, I think. But because your mind just never shuts off when it comes to something like that. I can't think of anything else. I mean, sometimes the 1, 2, 3, 4 I clear thumb war, I'll do that in between telephone poles, but I probably do it on the dashes of the road a little bit more. But um, yeah, I don't know that there's and then maybe we kind of talked about this as like the chirping of your car alarm.
Yeah.
So I'll chirp it and then I know that it's locked. I know it because I heard it, but then as I'm walking away, I'm gonna chirp it one more time. And like to be able to walk away without chirping a second time just it seems so foreign to me. So I don't know, but your mind doesn't work like that at all.
It doesn't. There's not anything on any level that I can think of that I have any type of OCD type thing about. Like I am a routine person. My design
Yeah.
does like a routine, even though it doesn't seem like I like a routine. I definitely do follow routines and certain things, like the way, like the order in which I take a shower. Like I wash my face and then I wash my hair and then, wash my body or whatever type of thing. Or the way that when I'm getting ready, I'm going to,
Sure.
That type of stuff. But
But you
things
say,
don't have to be in a certain place. They don't have to sit in a certain area. Like the way, like if I were to, let's say, have my desk set up or my computer set up, like the way that I had things there, I would like things to be there. That's kind of where I put them. That's where I would like them to be. But is it a catastrophe if something gets moved and not in the right location? No, the world still spins.
but I say all that to say that like you told Lauren, it's not like you innately think like this. I think it's contrary to that. I think it is innately. That's just like it's not like I woke up one day and be like, you know what? When I drive down the road, I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, 4. I clear thumb war, counting on my fingers as I'm driving down the road. How if it wasn't innately in me to do something like that, why else would I be doing it? Like how else? You know what I'm saying? Or like
No, I mean, I understand what you're saying.
yeah. So
just
I don't know, and I don't know if that is OCD. I mean, we throw around the term OCD about as much as we throw around the term ADD and ADHD. Like I think that there is such thing as OCD and ADD and ADHD, but I think sometimes it maybe gets mislabeled, or maybe when we were coming up we didn't call it that, but now that there's actual terms for it, then maybe we have.
It just seems like it takes up so much energy.
And now that we're talking about it, it
that.
makes me wonder if that's why I'm tired sometimes at the end of the day, and I'm just like exhausted. I don't know.
Well, now your design, you are meant to exhaust all of your energy because you do create a ton of energy.
Now that
you
you're
have
saying
a lot
that,
of energy.
maybe that's my body's
And
way
it's
of
not
exerting
just your energy. You have a lot of energy centers. So you have a lot of go, go, go. Not only that, you can also pull energy from other people. So like you have a constant supply of energy, and you are meant to exhaust that energy by the end of the night and then go to bed exhausted. If you aren't going to bed exhausted, you aren't going to sleep well. And I think we see that.
Yeah,
I think when
absolutely.
you have days where you're like kind of bored and not as much going on, I think you definitely see that you don't necessarily have as well of a night's sleep.
Yeah,
So
that's interesting. I'm gonna have to do some more research on this.
which part?
Like the tendencies, the OCD, the more about my human design. If you guys don't understand or don't know enough about human design, and I get it because it's somewhat foreign. Like it really is cool, man. When she starts reading stuff to me, like kind of describing me, and then reads stuff describing her, and then the kids and whatnot. Like I would say, 9 times out of 10, like my mind's blown every time. I'm just like, that's crazy. Like that is literally crazy.
And if your mind isn't blown, it's only because of conditioning by society, conditioning, the way we're brought up and things like that. So those are the reasons that maybe if you don't resonate with a particular piece of that, it's because of that. And you just have to kind of, if you're interested in it like I am, then you would continue to like dig a little deeper and let's try to figure out why that is, and is there a root cause, and like kind of uncover those kind of things.
Well, I think where my mind gets blown too is because if you go to like a psychic, for example, they don't ask you a lot of questions like, you know, your birth date, all this. I mean, like they just sit down and meet with you, and like they say some stuff that could be kind of cool, but then when you think back on it, you're like, really, that could have applied to anyone. But when you get into describing me and you and the kids and everything else, like it is so accurate that it's not like, well, that could describe anyone. No, this is describing me and like the way I think and what I do and how I act, like how I move.
It's because because it's all based on your birth date. It's all based on the energies and the planets, the way the planets were aligned, and all the energies that were in play, where the sun, the moon, all of that. Not just the sun, the moon, and all of the planets were at the exact time of your birth. And so that all goes into it. And it really is. It's crazy. And it's for me, it's been so, I've actually had when I first started learning about it, I was like, oh my God, mind is blown. This is so accurate. I feel so seen. And that was really cool. Well, now that I've kind of gotten familiar and comfortable with that piece of it and learning that piece of it and diving a little bit deeper, it now is like, okay, still cool and I still feel seen. However, am I allowing it to put a few limitations on me because of this too? And it's almost,
I could see that. It's
almost like overwhelming because the way I am made is I'm meant to try a lot of different things. That's the line 3 in me is it's messy action. It's constant trial and error, and there's a lot of failure in that, and that's fine. But because it has told me, you know, you do have a lot of trial and error and trying different things so that you can then share and tell others about that, it is hard for me to think, okay, well, how do I find that thing that I absolutely love is going to be the one thing I want to do forever and ever? Because like you, for example, you're meant to, you could find something that you love, real estate, that you do forever and ever and ever, and you'd be completely happy doing that. Whereas the way that I'm built, it doesn't seem as though that's really the case for me. So I feel like it's almost causing a block, or I'm causing a block for myself in all of that. Anyway, we got down a rabbit hole with that.
Yeah, geez.
It's not really where I meant all that to go.
Anyways, it's quite fascinating.
It is very fascinating. Yeah. I don't think it's in my human design or your human design that you absolutely irritate me to the nth degree, that every time I make eggs for you, what are you going to ask me? Every freaking time. And y'all, I'm literally, stupid. I decided after the last podcast that I'm going to try to stop saying
the F-bomb?
Mm-hmm, the F-bomb.
I'm proud of you. You not said it one time.
I'm going to really try hard to stop doing that as much.
It's still my favorite word.
It's still my favorite word. I'm still going to use it, but I'm going to really try to scale it back. So
let me tell y'all how petty this girl is. What she's talking about
is... It's not petty. It's annoying.
What she's talking about is when she makes me eggs, I say, did you put salt and pepper in them?
Every time. Okay. Every time. Okay. I want to say the F word so bad right now.
But let me ask you this. Is there anything else besides eggs and maybe grits, anything besides eggs and grits that you ever see me add salt and pepper to? Extra, like,
I don't know.
No, you haven't.
Okay, sure.
So that is the reason I'm like that. That is the only food that I eat that I will add extra salt and pepper. So I'm just making absolutely sure that it's there, because if not, I'm going to add salt and pepper. I don't ask it when you cook anything else.
So that doesn't make any sense to me.
It does.
It doesn't.
I want to be certain there's salt and pepper so I know whether or not I need to add more, because it's the one thing that I'm going to add it every single time.
So, okay. So what is the problem with you just tasting the mother eggs?
Because I know what it tastes like without. Because I know what it tastes like without salt and pepper.
Correct.
And it is the one thing that it's salt and pepper is going to get added to.
Okay, right. So taste the eggs and find out, did I add salt and pepper for you to add salt and pepper if you need to?
Mm-mm.
Why?
Because it's not the way it works.
It is the way it works. Why is it not that way? Because that's not what's easiest for you.
Why the hell do you put 7 pounds of salt and 7 pounds of butter on your baked potato before you taste your baked potato?
I don't.
But that's a lie. That's a damn lie.
Okay,
Why does
first
it
of all-
take you 27 minutes to prepare a baked potato then?
Because I know how I like it.
Okay, which is what? Plenty of butter, plenty of salt and pepper.
Right. It doesn't come from
So
the kitchen.
how's
I
that
don't
any-
ask the kitchen, hey guys, did you put salt and pepper on this? I just do it my fucking self.
But do you taste it beforehand
just
to
made
see
me-
if it needs to be added? No, you just add it.
Because I know it needs to be added.
I know it needs to be added to fucking eggs. That's why I do it. And I'm just asking before I add it. Before I add it, did you add it? That's all I'm doing.
Right.
But
so taste it and find out if you need
the-
to add it. It makes no, what you're saying
here's
makes
a
no
solution.
sense.
Here's a solution. I do my own eggs. How about that?
That's a great
But let's
solution
tell the
from here on
audience.
out.
Let's tell the audience why I can't do my own eggs. Because I apparently make the pan dirtier than she makes it when she does eggs.
Yes, you
There's
make
not a-
everything dirtier when you cook.
Okay.
I don't understand why it takes you 18 dishes to make one dinner that I could
Exaggeration.
make in 3. I don't understand that.
Exaggeration.
And not only do I do that, I clean up as I go.
Okay, good
You
for
also
you.
do not do it. And when you add salt and pepper, guess where else the
Goes
salt and pepper
everywhere.
goes? Goes
Everywhere.
everywhere.
It goes about like Lawrence spraying
everywhere.
Pam.
Exactly.
Yeah. But the point is, listen, we can solve this aggravation by you
can-
just let me do my own eggs.
We can solve it by you knowing when
I
is the
did.
last time I have not put salt and pepper in the freaking
I had
eggs?
gotten
Like
to that
when
point.
has that happened?
I had gotten to that point. So this last time I didn't ask.
What did you do?
I just said, "Did you?" And you, I was like, "I'm just teasing. I'm just teasing."
So
were
what'd
like,
you do?
"No, I ate them as is because you said you put salt and pepper in.
I
there."
didn't say that though.
But I knew you did. You were like, I was about to kick your ass or something like
So
that.
you knew that I did.
Yeah.
So you've been knowing that I do. Yes? No? You just said it. You just said it.
Well,
Your gut
I
just
think-
said it. You
I think
absolutely.
after arguing about this last time, I think I was like, okay, all right, I get it.
It's annoying.
Sure. If it's that big of a deal, I will adjust like always. I will be the one.
my God.
I will be the one to
Oh my
adjust
God.
like always. But yeah, sure. Go ahead. Listen, if we're
Are you going to adjust just like you adjust with the wash rags? Can
if
we please
we're-
talk about the wash
if we're
rag
arguing
accident? Not
about-
accident.
if we're-
Argument?
If we're arguing about salt and pepper and fucking eggs, I'll take that. That's a win in my book. That's about equivalent to me going and buying a cheeseburger at that baseball game.
Well, you know what we did argue about that led to, I think, it was this 2025 argument? It was.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
It's our first argument, probably in 2025. You don't recall this. You don't call
We had a big blowout like a few weeks ago.
Yeah, we had 2 of them back to back, and one
Okay.
of them was sparked by the washcloth incident.
Oh yeah, bro. The stuff you decide,
First of all,
the
let's-
stuff you can decide to get out of proportion by is it's crazy.
It is not crazy.
Okay.
It has been building and building and building, and that's
Well,
like
then
the
that's
thing
a
that
you
tips
problem.
the scale. It's
That's a
not.
you
It's
problem.
not.
Okay.
It's not.
I'll
Do you want
adjust.
to talk about
I'll
it?
adjust.
Well, let's talk
Like
about
that.
it and
Go
see.
ahead.
Maybe I'm the one that's in the wrong.
I thought we already talked about this.
I don't think we talked about
the
it.
rag.
Yeah. First of all, do you call it a washcloth or a rag?
I'm from fucking Georgia. It's called a rag.
I call it a washcloth.
Of course you do.
First of all, you know, not everybody uses one of those.
Why am I saying the F word? I feel like
I don't
I'm saying
know.
it more now
I don't
because you're
know.
not saying
That's
it.
on you.
Jeez,
Listen,
it is on me.
I
I'm
did a
sorry.
protection spell yesterday. Your bad energy is
I'm sorry.
bouncing off of my aura and back to you.
It's like
you in the
slapping me in the face. Jeez. All right, I'm gonna stop cussing.
So the washcloth incident.
Okay.
Do you remember what you said? I'm trying to remember exactly how you said it. You were in the shower. I had already had a shower. I was getting ready.
Yeah, and you had put a rag up there for me. You're like, I'll get you a towel and a rag.
Yes. Oh, because they had just all been washed and they were in the laundry room.
Yeah.
So I had to grab one
There
for
you
both
go.
of us.
And I probably said
And I
something
grabbed
along
you
the
one.
lines. So out of all those clean washcloths, this is the one you decided
Yes,
to
that's
bring.
exactly what you said. That's exactly what you
Okay.
said.
So-
Now, can we pause a second? Can you say that one more time? I need you to say it one more time so it's
out of-
nice and clear.
So out of all the rags that were in that dryer, this is the one you brought me.
This is actually triggering. I'm getting activated by this statement.
See, bro,
Again,
you get so bent out of
It's
shape
not-
over
I
stuff.
guarantee you, anybody, please, if you listen to this podcast, if you don't do anything else for me, please let me know if this statement was
Okay, we
not
gotta
the
get some
most
context, though.
condescending statement you've ever heard on this podcast.
We got to give some
Please.
context. So we have.
Please, give the context.
We have like 4 or 5 of a particular rag that I really like. She knows
I don't.
that rags are important to me. They have to lather a certain way. They have to feel a certain way. Whatever. And then
We say you're the one that adjusts.
And then
Okay.
so we got about 4 or 5 that I really like. And then we have like junior varsity rags, if you will. That there's probably about 3 or 4 of those, which if the varsity rags are out, those will do. Well, we went on vacation last year, and no, it was a camping trip. We didn't have any rags, so we go to Walmart and there's Home and Garden rag, cheap, fine, whatever. It works for vacation. Not the best rag. It actually lathers a little bit better, but it's not the softest. It doesn't feel good. Whatever. Anyhow, so I did make that comment. So she had just done a load of towels. Could have gotten varsity rags, junior varsity rags. She brings me BT rags. So it was. I make comment. She loses her shit so much,
right now.
so much that I'm actually like laughing about it at this point because
Which just pisses me off
But
even
see,
more.
there's stuff like that like it doesn't even like getting mad about something like that. They just does not fit. It is not in my wheelhouse at all. So when she gets mad about stuff like that, I can't help but to laugh because I'm like, are you effing kidding me? Like you're literally
which is so
pissed.
funny.
You were activated over a rag.
Which is so crazy because one of the biggest things that I hear you say, and everybody on this podcast has heard you say over and over and over again, is that something is so inconsiderate. That's so inconsiderate. A lack of appreciation. It's so inconsiderate. Yeah. So your statement was like the most inconsiderate thing that anybody that should be appreciative that didn't have to go walk across the house and get their own rag should be.
I agree. On the surface, it comes off as sounding unappreciative. I agree with that.
On the surface?
Yeah. Because, and I say on the surface because if I was one who didn't care what kind of rag you got or used or whatever, like it would have been cool. I appreciate you getting me that rag. But you know how I am about these rags.
I did not know that this rag was apparently a B-team rag. A B-team rag?
So here's the other part about this. This heifer right here going to sit there and argue to the ground that we have multiple ones of these B-team rags. And I said, Annie, it is the only one that we have. It is a Home and Gardens. Again, got it for cheap, whatever. It is the only one that we have. So out of 9 or 10 rags, the only one. She was going to sit there and fight me over this. She's literally arguing with me while I'm in the shower, swearing up and down, there are 3 or 4 of those too, blah, blah. I said, there's not. This is literally the only one. And that's why I'm so passionate about this because I know my rags. I would bet you $100 right now that if I went down, I just did all the rags, I just put them in a wash. I bet you $100 when I take them out, that is the only rag that's in
then
that.
Then throw
thing.
the fucker out. No. You're gonna make me use the F word. Throw the fucker out. If it's a B team and it's that big of a fucking deal, then throw the rag out because that's where I am frustrated. It is always what Kent has to have. What works for Kent, and I was at my limit of Kent being number one in this freaking situation.
So I'm glad we're having this conversation.
Yeah.
This is important.
Yeah, let's have it.
This is important, and I need you to hear me out here. And I would like for other people to think about this too. It's similar to the OCD stuff, okay? You could say, Kent, it drives me crazy that you count your deodorant strokes or that you count your rag strokes or that you count your 1, 2, 3, 4, I clear thumb. That stuff could drive you crazy, right? Or it couldn't. This whole rag situation could drive you crazy or couldn't. What you fail to understand in situations like this is that is the way my mind works. That is the way my human design works. And if anything has frustrated me about this human design stuff that you're doing is that I think that you use, or not use, not the right word. You explain your thought process and your actions based on your human design. But I think sometimes you fail to acknowledge my actions and the way that I think about things based on my human design. And that part is frustrating to me.
It is, but these washcloths have zero to do with your human
How
design.
do you know that?
Because I have looked through your entire chart. Your chart, nowhere in your chart does it say you need to have washcloths that are super soft and suds a certain way and blah, blah, blah. Nowhere in there does it say that.
Yeah.
And what's frustrating
It's a
about
version
all
of
this
OCD.
is that this was the very first time that day that I am hearing that this washcloth is not acceptable.
Right.
And I had
Because
already,
you don't
which
bring
was
me I'll get my own washcloths.
Right. So at what point were you going to say, hey, you know what? I don't like this one. Because you had said, I don't like this one. I would have made sure and not gotten you that one. But I didn't know that.
And again, it
And
has not
and
been an
it's-
issue
and
because I get my own washcloths.
You
It
don't
was
just
this
get
one
your
time.
own
It was this
washcloths.
one time that you got it. And Lord, if I had known it was going to turn into fucking World War III, I would not have said anything about it. I did not think it was that big of a deal.
I disagree. I think you still would have said something about it because I think it's inconsiderate. It's
Okay.
absolutely inconsiderate.
So that's
and
all,
unappreciative.
That's
It's unappreciative. You literally didn't have to say it. You could have been like, "Oh, okay," like to yourself. It's
I
not my
agree.
favorite, but you know what? She brought it to me
agree.
so cool.
It
There was
sounds
no
unappreciative.
need to actually say it out loud.
I agree that you
And there are other, we've had, and that's also what's frustrating is there are other rags. This is not the first time. There were rags before the ones that are in there now that
Agreed.
all of a sudden at one point in time they worked just fine, and then one day you flipped a switch and they're no longer good enough. So what do? We take them
Move them
out.
out.
We move them out, and they're no longer rags that Kent Kilco can shower with. They have removed.
It sounds so weird.
They're removed.
It makes me sound so weird.
It is weird. It is weird.
It's really not. You're exaggerating.
And at some
a little
point,
bit.
all the rags that are in here now are probably going to be ones that are now
the
one day,
dogs.
all
Yeah.
of a sudden, no longer work either. And that's what's frustrating. That is what's so frustrating.
Yeah. So it makes me sound like a weirdo, but I think that you're exaggerating a little bit, maybe.
On what?
Or
What am I exaggerating on?
I think you're probably not exaggerating. I just think that in the grand scheme of things, we're talking about rags here.
You're right.
You're literally getting
Exactly.
activated over
that
rags.
That is my exact point. It is in the grand scheme of things. Did that statement need to be said in the
No, I've
grand
already
scheme
said
of
it sounded-
everything?
it
So
sounded
why are you
unappreciative.
pointing it to me that in the grand scheme of it, I'm making a big deal out of nothing? Exactly. You also made a big deal out of nothing. Out of the grand scheme of things.
I'll
So
agree
anyway,
with
it activated me now. It's activating me now. It activated me then, and it took it snowballed. It snowballed into
Yeah.
other things, and
So is
I
that
think,
the fight you're talking about, or whatever you want to call it?
yeah, and it continued. It went on, and we.
So based on prior experience, do you think you being activated right now is going to deactivate before we carry on the rest of this evening?
I don't know.
Or are we going to go, is it going to turn into 2 days?
It's probably going to turn into this next topic, which is talking about do we sleep in separate beds now?
Yeah, let's talk about that. Yeah, let's talk about that. We don't sleep in separate beds.
No,
That's
but
silly.
well, is it silly though?
I don't snore. That would be the main reason.
Okay, so
If you snored, it'd be, and honestly, I can't remember if we talked about this or not, but if you snored, I don't think I could sleep in the same bed with you. And if I could not sleep in the same bed with you, I don't know. I hate to say I don't know that I could be married to you, but I don't know. I'm glad we don't have that issue. I hope we never have that issue. But I have spent one night in a hotel room with my dad. It was, in fact, Lauren had a surgery up in Atlanta one time, and he was going to go up there with me. I was like, well, just stay with me. We'll share a room. It was the worst night of sleep in my entire life. The worst. I mean, and I don't mean, I'm talking about full on deep body, the entire night snoring. And there's just like, if that was my life, my level of stress would be through the roof.
yeah, I know.
But that would,
sleep
I
is
think,
very
I
important
think
to
that
you.
would be the only reason why I would want to sleep in a separate bed from you.
Well, so for people that believe in, which believe is not the right word because it's fact. So everybody has an aura, right? An energy. Okay. It's an energy that surrounds you. You can feel people's auras.
We definitely feel yours.
Well, mine's most dense. Mine's bigger and most dense than most other people, of course. But everybody's aura is about 2 foot out from them in all directions. So that's
interesting.
Yeah. And so they were talking about, really you should, one of these, whoever said that you should sleep in separate beds or by yourself to protect your energy, your aura, like to give your aura a chance to like relax and calm down and, regulate. And because if you're with somebody, you're constantly within their energy, either pulling their energy, pushing their energy, just fighting with their, or being in their energy. That's not necessarily your normal energy field. And it obviously sleep, it would be interesting, I guess, to sleep away from you and see, do I really feel a difference? Because I've never thought about it before. I mean, I like you being home because makes me feel safe, but like I can go to sleep in the bed without any problem without you being in there necessarily. So I don't know. That's interesting.
I don't know that we could do that now anyways, just because of the dogs.
Yeah,
I don't want to
that
put
makes
that
it hard.
strain on them. I don't want them to have to make that decision.
No,
do we
I
go
wasn't
sleep with dad or do we sleep with mom?
Yeah, we already know. Like when I go to bed and you stay on the couch or vice versa, they struggle with that.
They don't struggle.
They do struggle.
They come sleep with me.
Oh, Blakely doesn't struggle. No, whatever.
Lincoln
Okay.
does too. Don't even play. But Blakely definitely does.
She does not. She likes to stay out on the couch.
I know.
You
That's what I'm
crazy?
saying with me.
With me.
Oh, you're talking about when I go to the bed. Okay,
Yeah.
I thought you meant like when I get up at like 4 a.m. and I'm just going to lay on the couch
Yeah,
or something.
no.
Okay.
Anyway, no. Okay.
So separate beds. I mean, are you going to introduce this shit to me or something?
No. I wasn't planning on doing that. I thought it was interesting.
But out of all this,
I just wonder if other people
can you at least acknowledge
I can acknowledge.
what I'm saying about if you're going to put
I do
so much weight on your human design that you have to be open to understanding other people's and I get, okay, you can say OCD has nothing to do with your human design. Maybe it doesn't, but I think that it's important that the more you learn about this and the more I learn about it and with the kids and everything else, you have to be open to understanding, okay, that's his human design.
I can be open to what your human design is, but unless you're going to learn about it and you can tell me for sure that's part of your human design, no, I'm not going to accept that.
Well, my learning about it is through you.
Because what you try to tell me is your human design has nothing to do with human design. Like, that's not the kind of washcloth that you need or want. Has nothing to do with that.
Except that I think
and it's actually funny that you say they're the most soft because the ones that actually suds the best, we determined, were the ones like at hotels that are bleached to the max.
I agree 100%.
And they're not soft.
I agree with that 100%.
Those two things, as soon as you said soft, I was like,
no, I agree with that
track.
100%. But they lather such that they can be sandpaper.
They are.
And I would be okay with it.
They are.
But it's also something too about taking showers at the beach. Like that, like a hotel rag here at the house, I don't think would have the same effect as a hotel rag at the beach. There's something about being
hard water, not soft water, makes
maybe
it lather different.
I always get those confused, but it's the temperature of your body. It's having a little sunburn. It's sand on your skin. It's sand in it's everything. Taking a shower at the beach. There's nothing like it.
Please
tell me you don't agree with that.
I just want everybody else to agree with me. They understand how difficult my life is. How absolutely difficult.
No, that's bullshit.
You are to live with, and how
I guarantee
difficult
you,
my life is.
9 people out of 10 will say, I agree with Ken on this one. A beach shower is the best. It is the absolute best. I think you feel like that, don't you?
No, the shower in my own shower is the best.
No, okay. Anyhow.
Not even, because I've gotten to a point in my life, I get icked out. Like, being in somebody else's place, even at Airbnb, like, I'm looking at the shower.
Well, that's why you want your own
camper
camper versus renting one.
Yeah, if I see a stray hair, I am like, ugh.
Yeah, I get that.
And I can't, I've gotten to the point where I don't even like
Man, when
going
we get a
places
camper,
like
our dogs are going to be in hog heaven. They're going to think they own that place. Well,
Yeah.
they will own it.
But we're doing a pool first.
Yeah, we're definitely doing a pool first and an outdoor living area.
Yeah, and the other day you said we should do the outdoor living area first, and that really threw me for a loop.
Well,
and
I'm just thinking logistically.
That logistic plan is not a good one.
That's a good point. If we were going to have to do them like a year apart, I would agree 100%. But I envision kind of doing it somewhat together.
Okay.
So that's why I said it like that. Is if we're going to do it within a span of, let's just call it 2 or 3 months, or however long it takes to do all of it, I would think that logistically it would make sense to do the outdoor living area and then you add the pool. Just because of where the entrance is to the garage.
I understand what you're saying, and that makes sense.
So,
Yes. Okay. Okay, well, I'm glad we are on the same page
Yeah.
as far as that goes.
We're going to draw out little sketches of what we wanted the
we've
yard to
not
look
done
like.
it. We've not done it yet.
I'm ready for it whenever you are.
We yeah. Okay, well, I think it's time to go. I think the dogs might want to go downstairs and play with their ball pit.
Was there anything? Do you want to talk about separate bank accounts? I mean, are you
Not really. I mean, I kind of I just said, if we wanted to talk about, because some people do have separate bank accounts, and we do also have a separate bank account.
In fact, we've got a couple friends that are like that, and we used to have some other friends that were like that. And when I say separate, like it's sure enough separate. Like when we go somewhere, they're like, "Are you paying?"
Yeah.
Or
that's always been weird to me.
Are you going to get the drinks? And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, and here's my thing is first, like, to me, what's mine is yours, what's yours is yours, whatever the saying is. But
that was the correct saying.
Yeah.
For me.
But for me, I can't even tell you the last time I paid a bill outside of my business. I bet I have not paid a bill in 17 years.
I know. And actually, Courtney,
So I would have a mutual account, even though we have separate ones now for multiple accounts and whatnot. I would have you on that account if for no other reason, just to make sure that
if something happens to me, you are screwed because the way I am with passwords and the passwords that I choose.
know shit.
You were
bro,
doomed.
You can't even keep up.
You were doomed.
You were the worst.
If I die, your best bet is to hold my phone over top of me and do face recognition and make sure it opens up, and also take my finger and put it on my MacBook so that will unlock, and that way you can possibly log into everything and like redo passwords.
Do you know
you'll
when someone says do you know when someone says you're the common denominator? Mm-hmm. This is I hear you up here yelling all the time at passwords. And then I'll get the yell down, Kent, they're about to send you a code, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, do you not know the password? I'm putting it in right. You will go to your grave.
I will die on that hill.
You will die down the hill.
I will die on that hill.
Arguing two things. Number one, that we have more than one of those home and garden rags. And number two is that you're typing in the fucking password right. I have seen your text messages. You suck, bro.
I am typing them incorrectly.
No, you're not.
Yes,
you're
I
the
am.
common denominator.
No,
I never had trouble with passwords.
I didn't have trouble with passwords either until I got these Mac things, which I love because they do a lot of great things between each other. But one thing they do not do well is I'll change something on my MacBook and be like, do you want to save this password to your keychain? I'm like, yes, please, because I suck at passwords. Please save that password. I'll go to my phone 3 days later and be like, hey, this is your wrong password. I'm like, what do you mean? You asked me on my MacBook, do I want to save it to the motherfucking keychain? And I said yes, but yet my phone doesn't want to remember the keychain. So that's where the problem comes in.
Okay.
And it's like it happens. If it happens on the Mac, and
just
then
so y'all know,
it
this
doesn't
happened
remember
before she got a Mac. I mean, we're
No,
talking years of this.
No, it
but
didn't.
It's cool. It's cool. I love you. I love you.
I'm not sure that you do, and I'm also questioning things.
There is no way you could ever doubt if I love you. Impossible. Anyway, are we talking about anything else, or are we rolling?
I was going to talk about the dog bowl pit.
Yeah.
The dog ball pit.
So
ball
anticlimactic.
Pit. It was very anticlimactic.
I mean, we've been wanting one for months. Been eyeing them, and I think I saw one. I was like,
we've been looking at them for probably a good year.
I was like, just go order one.
Finally ordered the dogs a little dog pit, and it's really for toddlers or whatever, but it's cute. And I thought Lincoln would just be so excited, but it came and we pulled it out, and I was like, oh gosh,
we ordered 100 balls, thinking
I mean, I knew it wasn't going to be like fill it up, but I thought it would be
at least
more than what it looked like.
We don't even have a bottom layer.
Not even a bottom layer.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So that was very anticlimactic.
But the good news is I'm going to turn this into mental exercise, and
I'm itching my ears. Can you hear
what
it?
I can do is put like 2 treats in and put them in the balls. And right now there's not a lot of balls in there, so they can learn to jump in there and kind of find it. Well, we've already ordered another 500 balls, so we'll have a total of 600 balls, and it'll be a mental exercise if you put like 3, treats in there, and then they've got to jump in there and sift through 600 balls.
So they will either jump in there and sift through the balls, or they will be afraid of all those balls and never go in it, and we will be putting it up on Facebook Marketplace. So keep an eye out.
The other thing I'm excited about is my garden plant, my inside plant, but I won't have that till probably let's just call it mid-February.
That's a tease. That's a tease. Let's tease that for a couple months.
Okay. Yeah, because it takes, I think it's day 45 before stuff even starts.
Yes, that's exciting conversation. Let's just
we'll do videos and everything for that one.
I know you guys can't wait for that.
You're such a punk. I swear.
I love you.
Anyways.
I love you guys. Bye.